You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
Come on, then! I'll bite your legs off!
I can take it.
Great power comes great responsibility.
We have a hope.
Get to the chopper! And leave. There's the flesh wound. I am the father.
I would say nobody has anything to fear from us. But we are going to control you now. It is the same spaceship you saw near the moon. That should convince you we do not come from your world. We are here to make you our slaves.
From the laboratories and arsenals of all civilized nations, the most powerful, the newest, the most devastating of weapons blast into action in their effort to destroy all monsters.
And we're back for another awesome episode of the Monster Movie Stompdown. This is number 17. This is month 2 of our double episodes, and we are, of course, tackling a Godzilla movie first, and then, of course, we'll jump to King Kong later in the month. We are hitting Destroy All Monsters on this episode of the Monster Movie Stompdown, and we're excited about it because it was better than the last entry, but we'll dig deep into this and what exactly we liked and didn't like. And, of course, I'm joined by my co-host sitting across from me.
It's Mark.
And then our good buddy from Corpus Christi, Texas.
It's Ruben.
So we were excited to jump. Well, actually, I mean, I'm stoked because the last one was kind of atrocious to go through. So yes, I'm a Godzilla fan, and I'll still enjoy most Godzilla movies. But the last one was one of the 3 that's really hard for me to watch. But this one was a little bit better. So we're talking about Destroy All Monsters, and just a quick rundown of the film for those who haven't seen it, because I know there's plenty of Godzilla fans out there that still haven't seen all the Godzilla movies. This one was kind of the this is a big fan favorite. A lot of people really love this movie. In this movie, of course, the monsters have actually been moved over to Monster Land, is what it's called, and it's just a big island where they've put all the monsters. And of course, we've got monsters-wise, we've got Godzilla, Rodan, Anguirus, Minya, Mothra. We've got Gorosaurus, Manda, Varan, Baragon. Am I missing anybody?
I think that's
Kumanga.
Yes. Or for those who
Kumanga.
don't know it, Spiga, if you've watched the American Son of Godzilla.
Spiga, yeah.
But Kumanga. So you've got how they fit on this island is beyond me when you watch this movie, but we'll dig into that in a minute. But you've got a ton of monsters. So anyways, what we've got is it's at the end of the 20th century, so like 1999-ish, and all the monsters have been moved to Monster Land by the United Nations Science Committee. And not only that, but we've also apparently got a small type science colony on the moon at the same time. And our main characters in this is Captain Katsuo, who actually is the captain of the Moonlight SY-3, which is the rocket that kind of goes back and forth between the moon and Monster Land. And he's the hero. He's the big top dog soldier guy for the United Nations Science Committee, whatever it's called. Then you've got some other good ones. You've got Dr. Yoshido and Kyoko, the girl in it. You've got a lot of really cool characters and a lot of returning faces like Akira Kubo, who is Captain Katsuo. He comes back in this one. Jun Tazaki is Dr. Yoshida. Yoshifumi Tajima returns as Major Tada in this movie. So got a good cast of people that's been in the tokusatsu genre for a while. But so anyways, we've got all the monsters on Monster Land. We've got a base on the moon. And then, of course, we got our captain who drives the Moonlight SY-3 back and forth. And something happens that this race of aliens known as the Keloks have, which are some awesome aliens who I'd actually, well, not awesome. They're terrible aliens because they wear these glitter suits, and I'm terrified of glitter. So I don't like them whatsoever.
Now, did you mention that there's scientists underneath Monsterland.
Oh yes, no, I
Yeah.
forgot. So yes, on Monsterland, there's a base underneath Monsterland of the scientists for the United Nations Science Committee who are studying the monsters. And somehow, I don't know, and this is something we'll get into it, but somehow they keep the monsters on the island. They're prevented from escaping, and we'll discuss that a little further as we get into it. And but while they're there, it just so happens that these aliens, known as the Keloks, attack the island, gas everybody, the monsters, the whole 9 yards. They manage to take control of the scientists on the island, as well as the monsters themselves. And then the monsters start running rampant. Godzilla attacks New York, Rodan's in Moscow, Mothra, Beijing, Gorosaurus, Paris, Manda, London, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So they just send them all over the earth and start, they're here to conquer Earth. And same type of thing we saw in Invasion of the Astro Monster, just different aliens, nowhere near as cool. Of course, the glitter suits. And so it's up to our heroes to stop them, and so the battle ensues from all over Japan and the world to the moon and back. And then they finally regain control of the monsters. And when they do, the Keloks pull their ace card, their ace in the hole, and King Ghidorah comes flying in to fight all the monsters. And what's a pretty amazing battle at the end. And then, of course, we win because Godzilla's the man and all is happy. So that's Destroy All Monsters. Really what it builds up to is the last fight scene where you get some awesome destruction sequences when the monsters are running rampant, especially when they all get to Tokyo, where all of them come together. You got Manda and Mothra and Godzilla. I mean, they're all destroying Tokyo at the same time. It's pretty freaking sweet. But that's just the story. If you've seen Invasion of the Astro Monsters, repeat, just more monsters, different aliens. But still really, really, really fun film. Let's break down a couple things before we go into the likes and dislikes. One of the things I definitely want to raise up and mention is this is the return of the trio. We haven't had since Invasion of the Astro Monsters in Ishiro Honda, Tomoyuki Tanaka, and Akira Fukabe. The trio, it's the quad because you also have Eiji Tsuburaya, who's back for special effects. But the original crew, from Godzilla on up until Monster Zero, come back because they haven't done so hot with Godzilla vs. Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla. They wanted to bring him back because they were having a rough time. Again, as we talked in the last month, the movie industry was getting hit pretty hard at this time. So they wanted to come up with something really, really cool and make a lot of money. Unfortunately, this didn't make a lot of money. Really, really cool, but 200,000 yen budget, ended up bringing in 230,000 yen in the box office in Japan. So definitely not a blockbuster, unfortunately. But it garnered, because we didn't get a theatrical release with Godzilla vs. Sea Monster or Son of Godzilla. AIP, American International Pictures, did a Titan dub for this and brought it out for a short theatrical run here in the United States. So I was wrong. I think I said it wasn't until Smog Monster that another one was released theatrically. This one was, and I didn't know that. So, even I learned something. Yes. But so it didn't do as good as it wanted, but it definitely had the original four, the big fours, flair and feel all over it. I mean, you could really tell, especially with the human characters, that Ishiro Honda was back in the director chair. You can definitely tell Tomoyuki was producing it all. And of course, the Akira Fukabe's amazing scores that he does. And then, Aishi's done a terrific job with special effects so far. Don't expect anything less from him. So definitely has the feel. I mean, very different feel wise than the previous two entries. I mean, you can really tell they got the gang back together, so to speak, for this one, because it is a very, very fun film. And it is very science fiction fantasy. Again, I feel like they pulled a lot from Invasion of the Astro Monster on this one as far as the ideas. And then they tried to make it work. And for all intents and purposes, it did work. It was still a fun film. It's revered as a lot of people revered as one of the best Godzilla films out there, mainly because of just the monster action. We get so many monsters. Was it 11? Is that 11 in there, right?
Yes, I believe. Let's see. Let me count them in my head.
Yep, 11 of them.
Yeah, 11. Uh-huh.
So albeit there, 3 of them we don't really get to see much of. Kumanga, Baragon, and Varen. It's really quick. Like the Varen's only in 2 scenes, and they're very, very quick shots because, and the same with Baragon, because the suits were actually just such bad shape that they just couldn't do anything other than those 2 shots. Of course, the Varen suit, instead of making a new one, they used the original one from the 55 film, or 56, whenever that one had come out, So I mean, it was pretty rough shape, anyways. And then Baragon, his suit was the same suit from Frankenstein Conquers the World in '65, but the problem with the Baragon suit was that's not all it was used for. It actually was used for like 3 different monsters in the Ultraman, in the Ultraman series. So it was beat to all kinds of crap. I don't know why they didn't show more of Kumanga, because you'd figured they just used it in the movie prior. It should have still been in good shape, but you got to see more of Kumanga than those two, especially in the last fight scene. She did pretty. It was pretty cool seeing her and Mothra, webbing up together. That was really sweet.
Ghidorah wasn't in exactly top shape either.
No.
Especially if you look at the back scene where the film's shot is from the top looking down on him. He's looking kind of rough. You could tell.
Well, at this point too, this was the suit from Monster Zero. Of course, now they redid the suit in Monster Zero from the movie prior, but this was the Monster Zero suit, and this was the same suit that would actually carry on and do, I believe, 2 episodes of Zone Fighter, and then into Godzilla's Gigan. So that's why in Godzilla's Gigan he doesn't do much, is because that suit is real rough.
But I like the design of this one. It's a little more menacing than we're seeing. So I like the suit.
Yeah, the suit. I mean, they did because they had to do touch-ups on them, definitely.
Yeah,
and the touch-ups were definitely nice on Ghidorah on this one. But so I mean, a super fun movie, really really cool. Again, we've got the big 4 back. It just unfortunately didn't do what they wanted to in the box office. But then again, they were able to make some more money out of it because we picked it up in the U.S. and a year later, in 1969. Which again, Titan Productions did the dubbing for it underneath American International's Pictures, and that's something we've been doing for those listening. Of course, you've heard me talk about the Plex server and how much pride I take into my giant monster collection. And me and Ruben has been talking, and he's been kind of my right hand man as we're talking about these movies. Been seriously hunting down high definition transfers of the original AIPs, because they didn't go to DVD. And we've actually found a release group online that's worked on a lot of these and have done extremely great high definition transfers, especially this film. And Ruben was, and I want you to say something about it here in a second, Ruben, because we were talking before the show. These transfers are just phenomenal. I watched I watched the AIP and the Japanese over the weekend. And then Ruben, you watched the Blu-ray from Tokyo Shock, right? And then
and then I watched the HD transfer of it, and the HD transfer, which is basically fan made or fan created, is better than the Tokyo Shock Blu-ray that I own. The picture quality is better. It's got the AIP dubbing, which is far superior to the international that's on the Tokyo Shock. And they just made some tweaks on it that it's far superior. I mean, if I was giving it a star rating, I would give the Blu-ray 2 stars, and I'd give the HD transfer a 5-star.
Wow!
I was doing a Blu-ray. If I was doing a Blu-ray review of and they were both Blu-rays, I'd give Red Menace is the guy or the group that does it, and it is far superior to the Tokyo Shock Blu-ray. Tokyo Shock Blu-ray even has it's kind of, I don't know, it's just not, it's all right, but it's not as good as that. It's way better. So in every aspect, they adjust the coloring, the colors, and the Blu-ray is kind of like what's the word? It's like a soft coloring rather than the bright color, and they fixed that.
Yeah, like the contrast was real mellowed out.
Yeah, the contrast. So yeah, exactly. It was very, and to the point that it bothered me versus other transfers, that I've seen on Blu-rays. I mean, for the most part, most of them have been all right. This is the first one I thought was not up to par with the rest of the DVD release, Blu-ray releases that I've seen, that I have. So, I saw both. I saw my Blu-ray last night, and then right before the show, I started it last night and then finished it today. I watched the Red Menace version, 2D, the remaster of it, and it's far superior.
Oh, yeah.
I recommend it to anybody. If you want to watch this movie, go online and find it. It's not illegal or anything. It's on a legit website, and it's done right.
Yeah, it is. It's you can find their stuff on TohoKingdom.com. Then of course that's all linked back to archive.org. Which is it's complete legit government site type deal. I mean, it's an archival site.
Yeah.
There's
an archival.
I mean, hats off to the guys at Red Menace, because those dudes are. I mean, we've gotten onto the Plex server. We've gotten everything they've done so far. So Godzilla vs. the Thing, Ghidra 3-headed monster, Invasion of the Astro Monster, Destroy All Monsters, Son of Godzilla, and I believe they are the group that also did the Godzilla vs. Sea Monster transfer. And they're absolutely brilliant. I mean, they're beautiful. They look far superior to the Kraken Blu-rays, at least. And then, as Ruben said, the Tokyo Shock one. Now, I've not compared them to, because I've got several of the Toho Blu-rays. I've not compared them to those yet. But I mean, just the quality is outstanding, and you get that original AIP dub that most fans want. And the AIP dubs very scarcely made it past VHS. So it's really hard to get them. And
I have this movie on VHS, and it didn't even have it on there. I was surprised that VHS that I have anyway, it has the international. It does not have the AIP.
Was it the ADV VHS?
I believe so.
ADV Films, yeah, ADV Films. All their releases this was the only Godzilla film ADV released, but then they did like the Gamera trilogy in the '90s and stuff. They never used AIP anything. Like they did a lot of either buying the international ones, or they did it in-house.
If there is a VHS that has the AIP, I don't have it. The one I have I bought in, I don't know, mid '90s sometime.
Yeah, the ADV's film came out in the '90s.
Yeah. So that's the one I have, and I still have. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people were getting rid of their VHSs, and I never really did that. I mean, I sold a whole bunch of ones that I knew I was not going to care for, but I kept all my Godzilla VHS and DVDs. Even I'm just not going to get rid of them because, I don't know. I just can't do it, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's good. Sometimes the VHS has something that you're not going to see again. And,
well, it makes me think of the Terror of Mechagodzilla. Terror of Mechagodzilla, when it came over here, had a completely new intro made, and it was on the old original VHSs. But when it was initially brought to DVD here, that was removed, and I think they got restored back on those Toho Master collections. They ended up putting on theirs, which was pretty cool. But so a lot of those old VHSs have got stuff that the later releases just don't have.
So for you guys out there, I mean, if you find VHSs, they'll be cheap. I mean, I pick them up sometimes $2-3. They're just
at
cheap.
the most.
At the most, and they're cool to have. You don't think they're cool to have when sometimes it's pretty cool. Like, there is still not. I mean, Godzilla 85 is a good example. That came on VHS. It's not, unless there's a bootleg where it's a Laserdisc transfer. It still had made its appearance on Blu-ray officially. That I'm aware of.
Nope, has not. So
it has not.
It was
Return has the Japanese version has, but not the American one.
Nope.
So the only way to watch it is if you find a Laserdisc transfer, bootleg, I guess you'd call it, or a VHS.
Yep. Or even they actually came out very small print run. I would like to find one because they're extremely rare. But do you remember the RCA discs?
Oh yeah.
Yep. 85 actually came out on the RCA disc too.
Really?
Did not know
I did not know that.
Yep. Very, 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 very small run of those on the RCA disc, but they are out there. I saw one on eBay sell for like $100-something once. I'm like, oh man. It was like one day, but not yet. So, but yeah. So anyway, again, like we're telling you guys, I mean, if you want to see one of those original English dubs, because we know, I mean, I've stated before how much I hate English dubbed films. I'd much rather watch the Japanese ones. But if I'm going to pick an English dubbed, it'll definitely be the AIPs that Titra Studios did, because they did a phenomenal job on their dubbings.
I agree with that.
You know, it's far superior to the international ones that Toho hired out. So definitely check it out. Red Menace Group. You can find their stuff on TohoKingdom.com, which is a great site to go check out anyways as a Godzilla fan. If you've not been there, definitely do yourself a favor and go there. But yeah, so back to Destroy All Monsters. So we all got to watch. We've got multiple ways to watch pretty much every Godzilla film between what we own in our personal collections and then what I've got on the Plex server. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that we all watch a different version, at least. Like Mark, you watch the international dubbing, right? I watched the Japanese and then the AIP, and then Ruben watched the AIP and then the international dubbing. So we all kind of made sure we all watched it together, so we talked the differences. And that's for the biggest part on this movie. Is the AIP dubbing, while it's not perfect, is way closer to the actual Japanese dialogue than the international, like way closer.
Yes. Because I watched the international version with the subtitles on, and you guys have heard me say that I've done that before, just so I can see how close they are, and it's way off.
Yeah, it was
talking. Yeah, way off.
It's pretty rough on this one. Pretty rough.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, and then of course, I mean, just the voice actors. I mean, you go watch an AIP dub film, they at least took care and concern in making sure the voice actors match the character. The international dubbing companies, they don't care at all. Like I hearken over to Godzilla versus Mothra from '92. And I can't remember the little daughter's name that's in the movie. That's clearly like a 30-year-old woman voicing her, but it's trying to talk high pitched. It is terrible. I mean, that was the first time I was like, man, I wish AIP was still around to get Titra to do these. These are bad.
Just try a higher pitch. See if we can pull this off.
We'll auto tune it up. But, So, but now before we jump into what we did and didn't like, there's one other cool thing I wanted to talk about for this film. That could have happened, but ultimately didn't happen. But originally in this movie, excuse me, Baragon, Manda, and I think it was Varen were not even originally in the film. No wait. It was Baragon, Manda, maybe it was Gorosaurus too, but it was one of those offset characters. I definitely know Baragon and Manda weren't originally in it, and Varen. Originally, it was supposed to be King Kong, Ebra, and Maguma. Now, Mark, do you know who Maguma is?
No, I do not.
Ruben, do you know who Maguma is?
No, I do not.
Oh man, you guys gotta watch some of those other non-Godzilla tokusatsu films out there. Maguma, and Ruben, you know who he is. Actually, I guarantee it. He's a giant walrus. He was in a movie called Gorath, and he was in there for like 10 minutes of the movie. It really wasn't much of the movie, but he was a pretty cool looking monster. I mean, massive tusks coming out of his face, and better than like you had Mogera in the Mysterians, which was pretty crappy. Maguma and Gorath was pretty awesome. Maguma was pretty cool, but originally it was supposed to be King Kong, Ebra, and Maguma in there, which I thought was interesting because they were trying to
change.
Well, I think with Kong, I think they ended up running out with the rights because it was right at that tail of they were about to run out the rights, after King Kong escapes, and with the production time frame, they couldn't use him. So I think Gorosaurus replaced Kong, and then I don't think that Ebra made much sense. Like when you watch this movie, there's no real water scenes. Like what's Ebra going to do? Like it's kind of
exactly.
So that's when they just started throwing in the other crew. Let's get Manda in there and stuff. I don't know ultimately why they didn't put Maguma in there because I thought that would have been kind of cool to see Maguma, who's not a big name monster like guys like Varen or Baragon or even Manda, because Atragon's a much more popular film than Gorath was. I thought it'd been cool to throw Maguma in there just because I don't know, he was one of those smaller monsters in another film that I always thought was pretty sweet looking, really cool. I'm
looking right at a picture of him, and I would think they would have like that. I wonder why. I wonder if they maybe didn't have access to the suit,
or if it's in too rough a shape. Maybe, I don't know. But he was cool, and like his eyes there was no actual like pupils in his eyes.
Yeah.
So it just made him look even scarier. So I thought, I mean, he was really
Yeah,
cool.
he looked like he looked like the Godzilla, the eyes that Godzilla had in
the GMK film.
GMK film.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah.
Well, what did you think about the new Godzilla suit that just came out for that movie?
For
Destroy All the Monsters.
Oh, that's right. Because we got a new suit. Yes.
Yeah.
So this suit, and with
I really like that. Yeah,
I love it because this suit would carry on for a little while.
Yes, it would. Yeah,
all the way through Gigan. It would carry on through Gigan, and I love the suit. The Shoshingeki Goji suit or whatever it is called. It was the final nail in the coffin as far as Godzilla's heroic look. If that makes sense. Like he really looked like a hero instead of a menace of any kind. I really like this suit. I actually like this suit the best in Godzilla vs. Gigan because it kind of went through a lot of, I mean, the next movie, Godzilla's Revenge, it's in there for a little bit. And then Godzilla vs. Smog Monster, it got beat up pretty roughly, but they did repairs on it. And it just made him look more battle-ridden, in Godzilla vs. Gigan. But yeah, I love this suit.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I liked it.
As far as the 60s and 70s Showa suits, I mean, I rank this one pretty high up there. I'm a big fan of the Godzilla vs. the Thing suit, the Mosugoji suit. I think that's probably my favorite of the Showa. Quickly followed by, and now of course I'm not including the original Godzilla suit. We're just talking like the later Showa 60s, 70s films.
Yeah.
The suit from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Terror Mechagodzilla. Because it still had that hero look, but he had a little bit of edginess to his face, and it's like I'll rip you a new one. I don't think twice about it,
Yeah, exactly.
And then this suit would quickly follow that.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorites. In fact, I guess I misunderstood you earlier. You were talking about Ghidorah's suit. I was talking about Godzilla's suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ghidorah's hasn't changed much. I was talking about Godzilla's suit. Yeah, I really like the design of this suit versus some other ones. That versus the Godzilla versus the Thing is another favorite of mine. It's a fan favorite too. But this one, just you're right. I mean, you say he's got that hero look, and to me, he's got more of that. Like you were saying, I'll take you out right now. Look on his face, which I prefer. I prefer Godzilla to be have a little edge to him.
Yeah.
So that's why I like his suit so much, because he's got a little edge to it, and he's more Godzilla. Let's put it that way. He's more of the Godzilla that I grew up with.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Because the longest span, this suit went on for the longest span of movies. I mean, you're talking 4 films that it went on, and then of course you got the little brief appearance of the Mega Ragoji suit, the one that's in Godzilla vs. Megalon. That was actually made for the Zone Fighter show, and then they put it in the Godzilla vs. Megalon suit or movie for that one. So but this one, this definitely, I mean, it's the hero Godzilla. It's the one that's he's the leader, and it really, really cool suit. But so now let's jump into it. What did we like and dislike on this movie? I think I went last on this one, so I'll start this time.
Okay,
this time around. Things that I liked: the monster scenes. I absolutely love the monster scenes in this. When they, I mean, the individual scenes when they get brainwashed and start attacking all the different cities is pretty cool. But to me, when that first time they come to Tokyo, then you got Godzilla and Mothra and Rodan and Manda, and they're all attacking Tokyo at the same time. That's some of the coolest shots ever. Like, it was just epic. And Manda can't even do much, but they still made it look cool. Like her wrapping around that highway thing and breaking it was pretty sweet. Seeing her go down the street next to Godzilla and all the armies fighting at him. The sets definitely weren't as detailed as previous films because of the budget reasons, but there were some amazing shots done in this film. That shot from like the bay, and it's like looking in, you're seeing them all firing at Godzilla and all of them standing there. I'm like, dude, this is really, really, really cool. I liked that a lot. I liked one of my scenes, which is kind of just a small, quick scene, but it's really odd, is where Godzilla is chasing the human characters in the woods. Like they're trying to find the Keylog base.
Oh yeah.
Because you've never really get that close of an interaction before with Godzilla and the human characters. So I thought that was pretty neat. I like that a lot. And then I love the last fight sequence. I mean, when all the monsters are together and Ghidorah shows up and it's just a monster brawl was really, really, really cool. Yeah, and everyone kind of got their little time to shine, which I thought was pretty sweet. You know, I mean, Anguirus attacks him. Of course, now he flies him up to the sky, drops him because Anguirus bites on the one head and holds on. You know, Gorosaurus gets the awesome kick to the back. Like they all get their cool little. Even Minya gets his little lame, you know, circle ring over the head deal. But I mean, it was for me. That was like when I'm watching it got really brutal, and I like that a lot about this one because I mean, at one point when Godzilla's stomping on Ghidorah's neck. I mean, like blood. If you watch the AIP version, you can definitely see it because the transfer is amazing. There's blood coming out of Ghidorah's mouth, you know, as he's screaming, and it's like, dude. And then you got the blood coming out of his neck from Anguirus. I'm like, they are tearing him apart, man.
Oh yeah.
So that was really, really cool. I even liked the last little bit of the fire demon or fire dragon UFO that you know their last ditch effort because Ghidorah wasn't good enough. You know, and seeing Godzilla kind of go off on that thing, it was really cool. There's a lot of cool action sequences in this one, and I think that's why it kept me very entertained. Because as far as the movie plot line, it was good, and I liked some of the characters because again, we got a great returning cast for this. But for me, the best parts that I liked, one, mainly was seeing them all on screen, but there's the amount of action in the film. Like it was pretty, you didn't get too far without some kind of action piece happening. You know what I mean? Whether it was the Keeloks attacking Monster Land at the beginning to the monsters initially attacking all the cities, then to them attacking Tokyo, then to the, you know, I mean, they didn't leave too much time in between to keep the pacing going. So I really enjoyed that. That's probably my favorite things about the movie is all the action, the monster fights, getting to see everybody on film, even though I would have loved to have seen Baragon and Varen more, but we understand, I mean, the suits were pretty rough, because Varen was always one of my favorites. He was kind of a smaller monster, had his own movie, but I really would have loved to have seen Varen utilized more in this universe, because I thought he was a really cool character. But those are definitely the things that popped in my mind, because I'll have, unfortunately, more things to say at what I didn't like than what I liked about this film. Don't, hate me, because I know there's a lot of fans out there that love this movie. It is fun. It's a very fun film. And the highlight of this era, definitely. But that's the things I did like. Mark, what about you? What did you like?
And you're right. The action is in the forefront. Especially coming from the previous films. You don't have Godzilla doing cheesy dances or acting like a boxer, or
right.
He pretty much comes out and is Godzilla, and that's one of the things that I liked and like seeing. And so I mean, it was to me it was getting back to where Godzilla needed to be. Now coming up, later we may go in a different direction, but for Destroy All Monsters, I thought the interaction, especially towards the end, the monsters working together, that kind of stuff, was fantastic. And so I was real happy with that. And the human acting, I thought it dropped a little bit. I thought it was good, but it wasn't. I'd seen better. When I was in previous movies, I've enjoyed the acting a little bit better.
Right.
So, but overall, I'll give it a thumbs up on the fighting and definitely all the action in it. So.
Yeah, super action packed. Ruben, what about you? What did you like?
I liked, which we already discussed. I like the suit design. I like the monster action in it. I would have liked to see more, but it was all right. I liked to see it. The acting was decent. And the story was decent. But when I go to my negatives, I'll talk about that. But it's a good. This film ended up being great because it kind of brought Godzilla back to where I think he should have been all along, and they should have never strayed away from. I don't really mind him being a hero, but I just want him to, the favorite part of my film is when the aliens are controlling him and he's running, wild through New York and Tokyo, because that's the Godzilla from '54. The Godzilla that didn't care and that it just was going through, was a mindless monster, what he's supposed to be. And I like that. I don't mind him being a hero because it's cool because he saves Earth and he saves us from the aliens, and he ends up tearing up the aliens. So that's cool. But I'd rather have a more edgy Godzilla, which this film brings back. And but my favorite part, of course, is I think what makes the film for me is the monster action and the Godzilla design, suit design on this is my two favorite things.
Sweet. So all right. So transition. If I get it out, us right into the things we didn't like. What did you not like about the film?
What I didn't like is I thought the story was stretched out, and it might be because it's basically Godzilla versus Monster Zero, and they just took that story and said, okay, we'll make the aliens a little different, and we'll put glitter suits on there to scare sludge.
Yeah, didn't like those.
And we'll make it glitter suits, but it's basically the same story, and then we'll throw some more monsters in. So to me, the story is okay, but it reminded me too much of Monster Zero, which everybody knows that listening to this show is my favorite Godzilla film.
Mm-hmm.
So that, for me, was a negative because I thought, they could have done something a little more original. So I guess that's my negative. The story was not original enough for me. They could have done a lot more. Another thing I didn't like is, of course, now this doesn't happen to be the film, but the dubbing was terrible unless you get the AIP, and then it's okay. And but that's really not a negative of the film itself. That's more of the people who made the film,
Right.
Which kind of surprised me. You think Toho would take a little more pride in their work to put something out there like that. And since the international, if I'm not mistaken, Toho is the one that basically gets that done. I mean, they contract it out, but it gets done. And Toho may not know any better. They may not know that the dub's bad.
But you would think they would though. Or at least they would have needed to.
Right.
Yeah, and so my assumption is that they know, and they just I'm kind of surprised they did that. Like I said, the acting, I would put it average. I would put it at great. It's good to see familiar faces, and it's good to see the soundtrack come back. The soundtrack again is, and I forgot to mention that in my positives. That's another thing I like with the soundtrack, and it's just it's nothing new, but it's still good to hear it again. So that's, I forgot to mention that before. And what else didn't I like about it? I thought the special effects were a little subpar. They've done way better, but I understand too that they were under budget constraint and they were losing money hand over fist, so they were just trying to keep their head above water. But there's some scenes that I thought they could have done better. There was an effort there from the special effects crew to put out the best product they could with what they had.
Right.
But and that's what I think the limitation in the film is the special effects crews probably had their hands tied behind their back and didn't have a budget that they needed to make a good film. Because this film could have been way better had the special effects been a little bit better. I mean, we're talking about, all these monsters on the same, all on the same screen at the same time. Just imagine if they would have had a better budget, what they could have done. Maybe they could have made repairs to the Baragon and Baron suits. Maybe they could have introduced other monsters in there. It could have been about a lot better. And one other thing that I liked about the film, and you mentioned it earlier, I love that Ghidorah's death blow came from Minya.
Yeah.
You guys didn't notice that. That ring basically knocked Ghidorah out. It was the death ring that knocked her out. I thought that was funny. I started laughing when I saw that. I said, "Ooh, I can't wait to bring this up during the talk." Because Ghidorah's still hanging on by a thread, and then he sends out that death ring, and then boom, he goes down for the count, and then that's it.
And then he does the whole stand on his back and like picking his arms roar. It's like right there. That's what was part of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was kind of funny that happened, but I guess to summarize, I just thought it could have been a lot better. They could have done a lot better, and I know there was budget restraints, and I understand that. But if you're going to put a product out there, it should be the best you can put out there. And if you're not going to do that, then maybe you shouldn't put it out.
Right.
That might be a little harsh because I like this movie. Yeah. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I'll watch it more. It's one of those movies that, you know what? I feel like watching Destroy All Monsters, and I'll throw it in and I'll watch it.
Yeah, it definitely gets watched more than some.
There's other films that I don't do that with. But that being said, there's still a lot of things about the film that I think are lacking that I just felt could have been done better, and they weren't. And I'm disappointed in Toho because of that.
Yeah, I will agree. Mark, what about you? What did you not like?
And I agree with Ruben on just about everything he just talked about. And especially with the special effects or, the miniature sets, I thought were poorly done.
Yeah.
In budget restraints, I understand that. But if you can't be as good as your last film in those areas, then maybe you shouldn't put it out. Because I know some of the city scenes were
they were pretty weak.
Yeah, they were pretty rough.
Yeah. More akin to the Gamera films at the time, I think.
Yeah, and
first quality.
It's just something that was short on Toho's part, and they probably should have did a better job with that. But I think overall, some things you look at the size of the island. You got 11 giant monsters on there, and that island didn't look big enough for 2 or 3, let alone all they had on there. But I think otherwise, I did enjoy the movie. Just a few things here and there, like the set scenes and the special effects and that kind of stuff, was really my only complaint.
For me, it's this, like Ruben said, the story. To me, and this is why I like the action sequences so much, is I feel like I got a complete rehash of Monster Zero. And Monster Zero did it perfectly. Like, that is a great, great movie. We got the same storyline, just new aliens, this time around. And I didn't like that as much. I mean? I was like, it's a repeat, and I don't want to repeat. But again, back to what they put enough action in it to keep it very entertaining for me.
Well, I think don't you think it's at a time that they were kind of running out of material to use and which way to go?
Oh, yeah. But you sit back and look, though, and this is, of course, me getting into the real critique side of the movies I do, is the whole reason they brought the big four back together was because they needed something new and needed something big to bring Godzilla back at the top. And I feel like they fell very short of that with this movie. I mean, it is a very fun film, and it's definitely one of the better Godzilla films of that era, considering what came before and what's about to come after. But looking at it as just a film on its own, I mean, it really it struggled in that, and definitely budget-wise. I mean, if they would have taken it down from 11 monsters to 5, or even 7, you could have, like you said, used some of that money for a little bit better sets and things like that. Because you still have the same crew. I mean, especially when it comes to the set. Noe, the guy who had done the sets for most of the Godzilla films at the time, dude was phenomenal. He just didn't have the money to work with to do the sets that they wanted to do, and it really, the budget really took effect here. I think this was the first time, that Fukuda and his crew understood they had a smaller budget with Son of Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Monster. And so going to the island, things that they adjusted for, helped those movies when they had smaller budgets. I think they went they tried to get too much bang for the buck out of this one, and its faults showed up on screen. The sets and the stretched out story, not as good as, acting, still fun, but definitely, you're right, not as good as some of the songs we've seen previously. I mean, it was a long stretch. Multiple suits in this film were reused, even.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think the budget is my biggest complaint. No, I'm sorry, it's my second biggest complaint. Because this was the first time.
Besides the glitter suits.
That's my biggest complaint right there. The glitter suits.
But now you have to remember, it's 1968. It's in America. It's go-go dancing and all that kind of stuff going on. And that's probably Toho's version that the best they could come up with.
It was pretty bad. And then they get electrocuted or heated up and they turn into these little worms, these little glitter worms. No, it's even worse, man. Yeah. Like, that's horrible, absolutely horrible. So I mean, and it really was. It came down. I mean, the budget was the biggest problem with this film, and then the glitter suits and glitter worms, which are just terrible.
Well,
ideas.
I mean, they basically just, you're right. The glitter suits were, nothing compared to the alien suits in Monster Zero, which were a little bit more intricate.
Yeah.
They weren't anything like super special, but they were cool looking.
Yeah, they made them look cool. Even the little, eye pieces like they did. Like Geordi from Star Trek. Well, that was way before his days, but that's probably where
you're right.
Exactly. Yeah, and they could have done something like that here. For some reason, they just decided to do that. And I'm like, man, I look at it and I know we're probably being overcritical. But man, they could have, they could have made it. It didn't look even. When I saw them, I knew they were aliens, but I'm like, man, they could have made the suits look a little bit more alien.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt like I was looking like at aliens from the Gamera movies. Like if you go and look at the
they
show
were just trying to be cool. That's all they were trying to do.
They failed epically on that one, big time. But I mean, those are my biggest complaints. I mean, the budget really covers most of what the complaints are, and then the glitter suits just couldn't stand it. And Minya, like. Don't give him the last punch, like Ruben said. He got the last shot on the Ghidra. Like no,
he got the gift.
Like no, that does not go to that little punk. Up against Ghidra because he doesn't do anything the rest of the film. I mean, that time he's just sitting back, squawking like a little baby, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat the big man.
He doesn't even show up anymore. Yeah, he just shows up at the end. I'm like, where's he at? And then all of a sudden he shows up at the end and gives Ghidra the death blow. I'm like, really?
It's like, come on.
The death blow.
Like I think if they would have stuck it down to take Minya out of there because there's no sense in that, but kept it to like Godzilla, Gorosaurus, Anguirus, Rodan, and Mothra. Suits were in great shape, great monsters to have in a fighting epic. They can all do a lot. That would have been cool. And then you had more money for something other than glitter suits and a better story and things like that. Again. Super fun film. I mean, you watch this and it's enjoyable no matter what. Because you get to see Godzilla and almost all the at least all the main creatures from Toho together underneath one film, and it is really really cool.
Yeah.
It's a Royal Rumble, is what it
agree.
is.
Yeah.
And not so much a Royal Rumble. It's everybody on one. When it comes to Ghidra
at
the end.
It's everybody on Ghidra, and Ghidra didn't have. That's another thing I kind of didn't like about the film. They made Ghidra pretty much.
Punching bag.
Ghidra didn't even put up a fight. Yeah. I'm like, really? Come on.
Like he's
this
King
is Ghidra, the three-headed monster. Godzilla's biggest foe.
I tell you, one of the things that's really cool that I really liked, and it's not really so much in the film as so much as a behind-the-scenes thing, is there's an amazing picture out there that was a behind-the-scenes shot. It's got Godzilla and Gorosaurus and Ghidra and Rodan and I know Baragon's in it, and I can't remember who all, a bunch of the monsters on the set in front of Mount Fuji, and you've got the big four standing together. You know what picture I'm talking about?
I've seen that picture. Yeah, I've seen that picture.
Man.
It is an awesome picture.
And that's so cool because it's like that's the last time this is the last time we'll see the big four together again ever on a film.
Yes.
And so I really thought that behind the scenes photo that's out there that they shot when they made the movie was really cool because that's the big four, man. They started this whole genre. The King of the Monsters and all of his other dudes, with him, and so that it's pretty cool. That picture was a wallpaper of on my computer for a while, like a couple of years ago. But it's really cool. If you guys go check it out and see it, it's a really cool picture to find.
It is a cool picture. And there's all kinds of. this film because it had all the monsters in it. Any convention, comic, sci-fi, whatever. There's always a vendor there selling that this poster right here, and it's always one of the best sellers. RJ has it. Even RJ has it in his room. It's a favorite because it has all the monsters in it, and so there's so many different versions of the poster out there. But the most famous one is the actual theatrical Japanese one that's out there.
Oh yeah, I love it. And it's got the little names next to each one of them too.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just very cool. So as far as films go, I like Monster Zero, and maybe that's why I'm a little bit more down on this film than I should be. Some people might like this one better than Monster Zero. I know I've mentioned it before, but these films, all of them to me, it depends. There's some percentage it's nostalgia. That's why you have some people that they love Son of Godzilla because that's the film that one of the first films maybe they went to see the theater.
Yeah,
For me, it's Monster Zero. And I know it's not the most popular one or the best one ever made, but it's just got that certain deal. And this one for me, of course, this one wasn't. I don't know about you guys, but this one wasn't on regular rotation on Saturday afternoons.
No, I don't remember.
Not in my area.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember it.
It was like even when I was a kid when Sci-Fi Channel was doing the rotations at the time, or TNT's Monster Vision. Yeah, this one was on very often. This wasn't the
it wasn't
big part of it.
Not very often. Yeah, I mean the first time I ever saw it was on TV. It was on VHS. That's the first time I saw it. And it was just not on rotation. I knew about it. I knew it existed. But I just never had access to it. It's not like today where you can go on and log on to Netflix or Amazon or whatever and find the film you want. Now it's pretty much on demand. Whatever you want, you can find it. It wasn't like that back in the old Stone Age for me. It was like if it wasn't on TV, I wasn't watching it. And if I was outside playing and it was on TV and I missed it, oh well. That was the end of that. I didn't see it.
No other chance there.
No, I saw it.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the highlight of my week was the Sunday paper, getting the TV guide in there, and going through the whole TV guide.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Circling movies. I wanted.
Yes. Well, see now, for me, it wasn't the paper. I mean, for you guys, it was the paper. For me, it was the actual TV guide.
Oh,
the
yeah.
books.
Okay.
Yeah. And my grandmother would get those, or my nana would, and as soon as she got it, I would tear through it. Yeah, where's the next Godzilla film? When's it going to be on? Because I need to mark this down. I'm with you on that one. That was it was a big deal. And then I remember when our TV guide finally would put all the movies on the back, and then tell you when it was going to be on. So if it was a movie, it'd be listed in alphabetical order in the back of the TV guide. Well, I call it a TV guide. It had different names, but it was in a newspaper. It was in a Sunday newspaper. And so that was like, oh man, it makes it so much easier because then I go and circle what I was going to watch. And, so this movie, like I said, it was never on regular rotation. So I didn't have access to this. So maybe if I did, maybe it would have grown on me. But to me, Monster Zero is just a far superior film. That's why it's number one on my list. It's just one of my favorites. But this one follows the same storyline. You'd think I'd love it just as much, but there's just something lacking on this one. But it's definitely one. It is fun, and if you have a kid, I know we've talked about this before. This is something that there's monster action and everything. Your kid will love it. I'm sure he or she would love to watch this film because it's got plenty of monster action. This one, though, I don't know if you guys agree with. It's got a little bit more blood than maybe I've seen in another Godzilla film. It does, especially when you look at the Ghidorah fight.
Yeah. So that might be something you might think about versus like I've always talked about Megalon. Megalon wasn't that bad. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, no.
This one does. I recommend it for kids. But that being said, there is some blood in it, and that might bother some kids. So you might want to check it out first before, because everybody's different. My kid, well, it wouldn't bother him, and it wouldn't bother me that he watched it. That he would watch it if he was 6 or 7. But there might be somebody out there that it might bother them. So you might want to take a look at it before showing it to them.
Just a quick peek.
To be on the safe side.
Yeah.
It's not as bad like Terror Mecha, like
Mechagodzilla.
Terror Mechagodzilla. Yeah.
Those movies were pretty.
Those get pretty violent, man. They're like, wow. But I always forget that. So I always like to say that. Well, it doesn't bother me, and doesn't bother RJ, but it might bother you. So everybody's different as far as parenting goes. But this is a fun film that I think kids would enjoy. If you can get maybe past that and there's not a lot of blood in this one, but there is some blood that you don't see really.
It actually got a G rating
over here.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
That
okay.
It did.
See, now I wasn't sure about that because of the blood. I'm like, man, maybe it was PG back then.
Yeah.
So if it got a G rating, it should be okay.
Yeah.
Then
So all right. So Stomp rating. I think we all agreed on this one, didn't we?
A big 3.
Big 3 on the Stomp rating.
3.
Yeah, big
so
3.
Yep.
3 out of 5, guys. So I mean, it's still a great film. Not a bad film. There's some things that were weak on it, things we didn't like, but I mean, it's a Godzilla film, and definitely in this era right now, it was kind of a little bit more of a shining moment, based on what we just went through.
Definitely. Yeah.
And unfortunately, what we're about to go through on the next Godzilla film.
If you haven't seen it, you will enjoy it. It's an enjoyable movie.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely fun. I mean, so much fun, even, and such a fan favorite that they try to repeat this formula for the 50th anniversary with Godzilla Final Wars. I mean, that's pretty.
Yes.
I mean, it is Destroy All Monsters all over again.
Yes, it is.
And
of course, you guys. I mean, when they did 2014, Godzilla 2014, Garth Edwards said that he wanted to do a Destroy All Monsters type movie. It never came to fruition, but I remember he said he wanted to do something like that.
Yep, because it is a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable for just a Monster Mash movie. Yeah, it's super, super good. If you're wanting something that's as great as a storytelling film and just the monster actions like Godzilla vs. The Thing or Monster Zero, I mean, you're going to be a little disappointed because it's not up to par to those films. But I mean, if you just want to have fun with some monster action, yeah, it's extremely enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, again, they had to repeat it in 2004. Which of course we'll get to that later with Final Wars, but that one, people were like, oh yeah, they did it. And most people are like, oh no, they totally failed at remaking Destroy All Monsters. But we've all got our opinions on that one. So, but yeah, so I mean, 3 out of 5 stomps. It's definitely worth checking out. You guys definitely should check it out if you can and have the opportunity. Again, like we talked about earlier when me and Ruben were mentioning it, find the Red Menace version if you want to watch it in English, because that transfer that he's got online is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just the quality is so far superior to anything we've received stateside that it's definitely beyond worth checking out. Any other comments on Destroy All Monsters from you gentlemen?
Nope. Good movie.
No. Yeah. Good movie. Like I said, if you have a kid and if you don't mind that little bit of blood that's in it, I would say that's a good movie for a kid to watch. Yeah,
definitely a lot of fun. We'll Gavin, I could get that out. I was wanting to say Gamera Godzilla, then my son's name finally. Gavin, he loves the last fight scene in this one. He just there's so much in it that to him he just gets ecstatic over this one. So this is one of the ones that he's watched. Now he's always like, Dad, fast forward when it comes to the storyline, honestly. But he's a big fan of this one for sure. So definitely check it out. But all right, so that's Destroy All Monsters. Now, before we definitely say goodnight to you guys, I want to remind you all, we've got Kong coming up again this month. And like we talked on the first episode of the first King Kong, we will be skipping Son of Kong because it's absolutely pointless to do an episode on that.
I think you did a little bit of the last.
I did justice to throw it in, I guess, but not gonna waste the whole episode. But
actually, you talked about it a little more than I thought you would.
It's probably because it's like
I think
Titanic.
I think you like.
No, I don't like.
I do.
Okay?
I think you like.
It's the same thing as Titanic. I hate Titanic, but I will rant about how bad that movie is forever. But so what we have up next, because we're going to go chronologically in order. We are skipping King Kong versus Godzilla because we've already done that one.
Right.
So we're doing just the solo Kong films. So next, in 2 weeks, next episode this month will be King Kong Escapes, which is the second Toho film. Super fun movie. Like, I can't wait to do this one. I almost don't even know if I need to watch this one. Like, to be honest with you guys, I've watched this one probably as much as most Godzilla films. Like, I love this movie. Love this movie. And it's, of course, puts Kong up against Mecha Kong, or in the Mecha Kong is what it's called in the Japanese. A robot version of himself, which is actually what led to inspire Mechagodzilla. So if we didn't have this movie, we may never had Mechagodzilla, just so everybody knows. But definitely check that one out. Super fun movie. Really stoked to do that one. And then, of course, the next month we jump into what's unfortunately the epic, just ground mess, horrible pothole slime bucket of films that is Godzilla's Revenge. So you guys probably might figure out what I might rate this film when we get to it. But so definitely check out with it.
We've got a negative number.
Yeah, there's going to be one coming up that Sludge is not a fan of. There's two in the collection that I'm very much not a fan of, and one of them's coming up very soon. So, but again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Make sure and check out the next episode this month for King Kong Escapes. You don't want to miss that one. That is a super fun film. I mean, super fun film. Definitely one that I think we all will recommend when you listen to the episode because it's extremely enjoyable. And then, of course, we'll be back next month with Godzilla's Revenge, and then we'll pick up with the King Kong remake from 1976. Stoked about that one as well.
Sounds good.
So, all right, do you guys got anything else you want to say before we?
For that one.
I am good on this end.
Ruben?
I'm all right, man.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed doing this one.
Oh man, so again, super fun film. Check out Destroy All Monsters. There's definitely, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, there's definitely worse Godzilla films. There's definitely better Godzilla films. But if you just want to have a good fun time, you want to watch some monster action, Destroy All Monsters is the way to go. So again, thank you guys so much. This is Sludge
and Mark
and Ruben.
Y'all have a good night.
You